friends, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be creating a custom gouache palette. And so I purchased this empty palette from Amazon.com. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to fill this palette with all of my favorite colors from my favorite gouache tubes. So hopefully by doing that, I'm going to be able to have all of my favorite colors much more readily available to me without having to constantly be searching for it and squeezing it out of various tubes. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so here's the pan that I got from Meeden, and I bought this on Amazon.com. And I chose it because it had 52 small pans in it, which means that I'll be able to put 52 different gouache colors into these compartments. So let's take it out of the plastic and take a look. So it has the Meeden branding in the front, and I chose a black cover. I believe they have some different designs as well, but I like the classic black. And there are two flaps which you can use on the inside as palette surfaces. So the actual palette itself comes empty, and so I'm going to have to fill these up with the pans, which come separately in this little Ziploc baggie. So let's open this up, and then I'm going to just sort of start to place them in. I think one of the great things about setting up a palette this way is that you can really choose exactly what colors you want to have in your palette. And so if there are certain colors that you don't use as often or that you use more frequently, you can tailor your palette to your preferences. So let's start slotting in our pans. And I think it's going to be better for me to take this little tray out first so that it'll make my job a little bit easier when I put these in. So yeah, let's start slotting them in one after the other. I was kind of scared doing the first one because I realized that you have to put a little bit more pressure than I anticipated. But now that I know what I'm doing, I think this is going to be easy. Okay, so I've slotted in most of them, but I realized that on the ends, it's kind of hard to get them in. So I realized that the trick is to wedge the remaining piece for each row in between two neighboring pans. So that's a little trick in case you're trying this at home and it's hard for you to put that last pan into each row. So we are all set right here with this tray of pans. And so I'm going to start reaching for my neutrals first. And so when I'm painting with gouache, I use a lot of white, but I don't think I'm going to put white into this palette because I just use so much of it that I always end up just squeezing a ton of it from the tube. So let's leave white off this palette and just move on to yellow and some of the neutrals. So I use a ton of neutrals in my work because I love representing diversity and people of all different colors and skin tones. So the top row of this palette will be colors that I use to mix skin tones, and that includes yellow actually. So let's start with yellow. And right here I have my cadmium yellow pale, which is arguably my favorite gouache yellow. And then I'm going to start filling in some of the other yellows and kind of more orangey yellows that I use in my skin tones as well as just in general, because I like to keep all similar colors adjacent to one another because I'm OCD like that. And I like to add a little paint dab to the cap of every gouache tube that I have. And pro tip, it's a really great thing to do if, for example, you need to go find that same color later on because you used up all the color on your palette or in your pan. So if you need to find it again, just having that little swatch on the cap will make your life so much easier. And I'm going to give the pan a little shake because I want the gouache to stick to all four sides of each pan, because I have had gouache kind of fall out of previous pans that I've had. And so it's sticking to all four sides is a really important thing. So I'm going to try to either squeeze it so that it sticks to all four sides, or if it doesn't, just give it a nice shake before I allow the paint to settle and dry. All right, so now that we are done with these yellows, I'm going to start getting into more of the neutrals, which are my favorites and the ones that I use the most frequently. And so this is Rose Pale Blush from Winsor & Newton, which was formerly known as Flesh Tint. And I'm really glad they changed the name of this color because who's to say that this is flesh tint for everyone, right? So, but I use this as a base for a lot of my skin tones, regardless of the specific end color. So let's do this. And then I'm going to start adding some more beigey, mocha, espresso type colors as well. Okay, so we have a nice selection here that I can use for most of my skin tones. And then the next color category I'm going to move into are the oranges and reds. And some of my reds actually overlap the browns and beiges. So I'm going to reach for those first. Venetian Red by Winsor & Newton is another favorite that I have, and I use it to warm up some of my skin tones, and I think this is really pretty. It has a warmer, more mahogany kind of browny color to it. And then after that, what am I going to do for this last one? I think I'm going to leave that one empty for the time being and come back to that later. So let's reach for the next red, which is this beautiful Flame Red by Holbein. And so this is sort of like a bright poppy red, and I love the consistency of Holbein. It just comes out this perfect buttery consistency. So I'm going to start squeezing out the rest of my reds. So this is going to be cadmium red, and I'm going to have the whole spectrum of different reds that I have, from orangey reds and oranges to more magenta. So this is sort of like the warm colors row, if you will. Okay, I just realized what color I was missing from my first row, and that is yellow ochre, which is another favorite of mine. I can't believe I, forgot about this. So let's squeeze that into the first row, and that first row will be complete. And one of the things I really like about this type of palette is that you can really easily change the configuration of where your colors are on the tray. So if, for example, later on I decide that I want to move the colors around, I can easily just pop out the pans and rearrange them in a setup that works better for my process. So this palette is shaping up really nicely. And another important thing to note is if you're doing this for yourself, think about the colors that you use most often. So for me, I paint ballerinas and dancers and people, so I really need a lot of nudes, beiges, and a lot of reds. If you're, for example, a botanical artist or something else, maybe you need more greens or just specific colors for what you do. So with that said, I'm going to move on to the blues on the next row and then greens on the last row. So it's going to be kind of a task to narrow down my favorites, but let's go. So I have all of my gouaches in those tones right here. And as you can see, all my caps are color coded. And you can see now why that's really convenient. So let's start to organize and figure out what blues and what greens I'm going to put. Let's start with the blues first and just sort this out. By the way, let me know in the comments below if you're interested in me doing a video all about my favorite gouache colors. Now I've narrowed down my blues to about 13 different shades, spanning from cerulean blue, which is what I'm putting right now in the palette, to more saturated blues like ultramarine. I'm even going to put some deeper and darker colors like Prussian blue and indigo, which are some of my favorites. We're going to go from lighter shades on the left-hand side to gradually darker and maybe less saturated ones to the right. That's at least how I'm planning to do it, but we can always change it, like I mentioned before. And it's so hard to narrow these down because I feel like every single one of these colors has a personality and a story of its own. So just having to pick one over the other is like choosing a favorite child or something. So I couldn't choose between cobalt blue and peacock blue, so I'm just going to squeeze both of them in here. And, it'll be a good experiment to see which one of the two I use most frequently. So let's fill up the rest of this row and keep going. I left the last pan on the row empty, and that's because I realized that there's one blue that's missing from my sampling of blues, and that is ash blue, which is a beautiful and very unsaturated grayish blue, which I just love using. And I use this a lot straight out of the tube. So we're gonna put this in this palette and then move on to the greens. And for that, I'm actually going to start with ash green, which is a close cousin of ash blue. And it's actually really similar. It just has a little bit more of a green tint to it. And so I use both of these very, very frequently. Next up, I'm going to put moss green and then a lot of greens that are greens that I like to use for foliage. So moss green, terre verte, sap green, all those colors I tend to use a lot when I'm doing foliage, leaves, trees, botanicals, that kind of subject matter. Whoa, this cadmium green pale is really electric. And I don't think I've ever used this color before, so maybe this palette will be a good opportunity to use it more frequently. And then we've got some darker greens, including, I believe this is Viridian, which is so beautiful. It's like an emerald kind of color with a little bit of a blue cast to it. And I noticed that I actually tend to prefer greens with bluer color to them. It's just sort of a personal preference of mine, than the yellower greens. And so you need both, but in terms of Margot's personal favorites, I'm always for the bluer greens. And then I'm going to add some turquoise towards the end of the palette, because you never know when you might need a good turquoise. So we're going to have two of them, a cobalt green pale and a true turquoise from Winsor & Newton. So let's give this palette a good shake, try to get the paint to settle into the little crevices. And doesn't that look delicious? I mean, am I the only one who wants to eat paint? Because it just looks like yummy candy or something. So we're not going to eat it though. We're going to let it dry, and then we're going to put it back into its carrying case. The fact that this tray slides out actually will make it a lot easier to clean. So along the way, if I get paint all over the place, which is highly likely, then I'll be able to take it out and clean it really easily. And there you have it, a fully customized gouache palette with all of my favorite colors. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.